Hey everyone, it's Miriam from Rustic Waters Homestead. So here is a real quick video today. This is our last batch of chicks that I wanted to show you guys. Right before our talk this morning, we are raising out, there's 50 here, and we raise them out 50 at a time. And you're gonna see that they're on pasture. They're enjoying themselves this morning. It is a beautiful morning here in Missouri again. And yeah, so I wanted to start off by showing you where the chicks are. And you can see that they are out, and this time around, they're in front of the house. So we're like on another side of our property, and they're gonna be going through this field here and finishing off the season in this field. But I wanted to talk to you about some recent news that's happened within the last, I don't know, like week and a half or so. I don't know how many of you follow the poultry industry as much as Bernie and I do, particularly myself. It's something that I am pretty passionate about. But this last week, 2 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, I get a notification on my Facebook feed about some farmers in the Midwest. And I took a look into it, and there's this huge poultry producer. And how it works is that these huge producers contract with farmers, and these farmers raise their chickens in huge poultry houses. And everything is dependent, the farmers raise the chickens for them. The producers then, after the chickens are raised, pay them. Everything is on kind of like loan, like word of mouth, even the suppliers for the feed for the farmers. It kind of works that way. And in this particular case, this huge poultry producer filed bankruptcy. And it was a huge impact for the farms in the Midwest. There was multiple farmhouses, grow houses, poultry houses that were affected, where this poultry producer had promised payment, had promised that they were going to take X amount of birds, and they didn't. They filed bankruptcy. They left these farmers, high and dry with all of these birds that they had to move. Now, originally, this particular poultry producer stated that they were going to euthanize the birds, which means, guess what? It wasn't going to hit the market. It wasn't going to be available to you. It wasn't going to be available to the big box stores. They were just going to eliminate the birds because they couldn't afford to process them. They couldn't afford to pay the farmers. And then they came back several days later and they said, hey, you know what? We don't even have money to euthanize these birds. So it was up to the farmer to determine what they were going to do. And my heart goes out to these farmers because they were under contract. They were under the assumption that this producer was going to do what they said, that they were going to get paid for their time and their investment and everything that they did. And they didn't. And they took it to Facebook. And this was what was going to happen. The birds were either going to be lost, or they were just going to make whatever they could off of them. And that's what they did. They did whatever they could off of them. They took it to Facebook. And you guys have to understand that these animals, when I read further into the article, these animals spent 2 or 3 days without any food or water. Actually more than that, because by the 3rd day in, when the food supplier heard what was going on, they cut the farmer's feed, because the food supplier was impacted, because the farmer's going to pay after they get paid, and the food supplier said, you're not getting paid, so we are cutting the food source. So why do I tell you guys all of this? Well, this is big box companies. These are big poultry producers. They only look at bottom line, right? They only look at how it's affecting them. They probably, and if they do, they make choices based on their bottom line. And it impacts the community. It impacts, it's just a trickle down effect. It's economics, right? It's just a trickle down effect. It impacts everybody. The reason I share that with you guys is because I continue to say that it is so important for you to become and to, number one, understand where your poultry is coming from, where your meat source is coming from, and number two, why it's so important to buy local. And on our farm, we raise small batches locally because yes, our farm needs to produce money, right? Because doesn't everybody need to produce money? But we are very mindful that we take the steps so that we do small batches so that we can care for our birds the way that they need to, so they can pasture the way that we need to, so that we can influence regenerative farming. Like, there's an impact when we raise the way that we do. And honestly, guys, bottom line is, a couple of videos beforehand, I talked about how poultry prices have gone up and why they have gone up and all the repercussions that we have dealt with since 2020. Well, here's another one for you. Here's another impact. So when you're wondering why your prices are continually go up at big box stores, this is why this is happening. Here's another huge poultry producer that has filed bankruptcy. It impacted so many farms. It's going to impact what's at the market. Whereas if you were to make a relationship with your local farmer, if you were to make a relationship with those local stores, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. The quality is not the same, which you guys know I've talked about before. The meat itself is not the same, and how your animals are raised is just not the same, right? These guys are enjoying the weather. They've got sunshine, they've got fresh water. Bernie's coming out and he's going to be feeding them now. They're going to actually be moved to a different area so they can enjoy that fresh pasture. But you can see they are doing what's natural for them. And this is our big message here at Rustic Waters, is for you to know what you're consuming, know where it's coming from, and for animals to be raised the way they were intended to be. So guys, I appreciate you listening to me. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments, and you guys all have a wonderful day.